Hi, friends. Welcome to your practice. I'm so glad you're here carving out some time for yourself today. We'll take a well-rounded Hatha sequence. And as always, you're welcome to vary the postures as you need, using props as you need to. I love props. A firm blanket would be helpful today and a block, and make the practice your own. So today we'll be working on some strong standing postures for the legs, as well as creating some opening around the torso and the heart. So we'll start with the heart opening posture, gentle posture on our backs. And this is where your blanket can come in handy. You're welcome to lay flat on the floor if you don't have this prop. But if you do, you can fold the blanket to where it's going to be laying underneath the shoulder blades. Okay, so I'll demonstrate here as I move Baxter gently out of the way. But we'll be laying down on our back. So if you prefer flat, if that's more comfortable for you, then go for it. Otherwise, fold your blanket so you feel supported across the shoulders and shimmy yourself over the blanket until just the tippy tips of the shoulders, tops of the shoulders, maybe graze the floor, All right. And so you need to make some adjustments here, and that's fine. You can let the arms come to a T position or to a goalpost position. If you find over time that you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can bring the arms overhead or across the forearms here. But we're just looking to get a very, very gentle beginning to feeling some space across the chest. And you'll notice that my knees are bent, feet wide, knees touching at center. You're welcome to lengthen the legs out long. This is just feeling a little bit more beneficial for me today. So always making the practice your own. And then once you find a place that you want to stay for a bit, start to allow yourself to rest. So maybe even close the eyes or soften the eyes here. And with every exhale, let the legs get a little more grounded. The back of the hips. Let your shoulders rest into the prop or the floor. Let your arms get heavy, your head get heavy. So we're here at the beginning of our practice. It's a good time to check in. Notice how you're feeling in the body today. Maybe take a gentle scan. Notice any areas that you want to pay extra attention to. Now begin to tune into your breath. So this openness in the front body might allow us to find a little more depth in our breath as we move the breath towards the belly. Inhaling and exhaling. Just a few more breaths here. Notice how the pose changes over time. So maybe you feel like the shoulders have relaxed a little bit more towards the floor. And then to come out of this posture, we'll take it slow. So bend the knees if they're not already. Simply roll to one side and move that blanket out of the way if you were using one. And we'll come back onto our backs, arms down by the sides. And again, take a moment to notice the effects of that first pose. And then we'll stretch one leg long and then the other, reach the arms up and overhead, full body stretch here. Keep the breath nice and easy as you stretch a little bit longer on the right side of the body. And then a little bit longer on the left side of the body. You can flex the feet back and forth like that. Breath is easy. And then reach through both arms and both legs. You can flex and point the feet a few times here. Nice. And then release the arms down and bring the feet flat to the floor. So heels a comfortable distance away from the seat. And this is where a block might be handy to offer some feedback and some engagement in the inner thighs. So you can place that block or that book between the inner thighs on its narrow setting and arms down by your sides, palms face down. So for our strong standing postures, it's good to have some awareness, some engagement around the hips and the pelvis here. So we'll start with some very small movements. As you inhale, let the belly expand. And as you exhale, press into your feet and squeeze the block, press your low back down, okay? Inhale, release the low back, release the inner thighs, and soften the feet. It's a very small movement. Exhale, press into the feet, squeeze the block, press the low back down. And then as you inhale, release the low back, the inner thighs, and soften the feet. So moving up the body as you exhale, engaging. And then as you inhale, softening from the belly button down to the toes. So continue like that with your breath. You may find over time that you would like to squeeze the glutes as well. You notice the glutes squeezing as you squeeze the inner thighs, the glutes, low belly presses down. And then as you inhale, release and soften through the feet. A couple more times, just like that. Nice. And then the next time you exhale, engage the feet, the inner thighs, the glutes, the low belly. And as you inhale, lift the hips towards the sky. It doesn't have to be very high. Exhale to lower and inhale to lift. Squeeze that block or that book. You can even use a firm cushion between the inner thighs just to get a little bit more feedback there that you're actually using the parts of the body that you want to use. Next time you lift the hips towards the sky, stay there for a moment, press the knees away from you, press down into the arms. Maybe you squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit closer together underneath you. And take a few breaths here. Let the breath be easy. You're working hard, and yet let the breath be easy. And now go ahead and release. Release your block to one side. Widen your feet as wide as your mat, and just let the knees sway from side to side. So after we engage these muscles, we definitely want to offer some time for release, letting go of any excess tension or grip so that we're not holding on to that for the rest of our practice or for the rest of our day, for that matter. And then come back to center, heel toe your feet close together again. And then extend your legs towards the sky. Now, the knees can be bent. That's just fine if the hamstrings are tight. Otherwise, the legs can go a little more straight. And press down into the arms. As you inhale, flex the feet and widen the feet away from each other. And as you exhale, squeeze the inner thighs, bring the inner ankles towards one another. Okay. Inhale, reach out through the feet, and exhale to bring the legs together. Okay, continue. And again, you can do this with bent knees if that's better for the legs today. So we want to engage the inner thighs gradually and gently. We don't want to have any sudden or jerky movements with those sensitive muscles of the inner legs. Last one here. And then the next time you widen your feet, go ahead and stay and go to your full extension, your full opening there, and then back off a bit. So squeeze the inner thighs, back off about 10%. So the legs will come a little closer together. You'll feel the inner thighs working, the belly working, press the low back down and press out through the feet. So the entire leg is engaged here. And then breathe as easy as you can. As you press out through the feet. Nice. And the next time you exhale, bring the legs towards one another, lower the feet to the floor. And again, widen the feet and let the knees just sway from side to side. And with every exhale, really think of releasing any excess tension or grip that those postures brought up here. And then we'll make our way to hands and knees. So gently roll to one side. Use your hands to bring yourself up to all fours here. This is where your blanket can come in handy again if you're on a hard surface and you want to protect your knees. You can bring your blanket underneath you for a little bit more support. I have a leaf on my mat. You can tell I was outside practicing. So shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Draw the belly in and up. As you exhale, press into the floor, round the spine, tuck your chin. And as you inhale, soften the belly and lift the heart. So simple cat-cow here, warming up through the spine. And if you'd like to add that engagement of the inner thighs as you exhale, press down into the knees, squeeze the inner thighs as you round up, and then slowly, softly release as you lift the heart and soften the belly. Last few rounds here. Of course, you can always pause the video and take a little more time in any posture. But we'll come back to center here, nice neutral spine. And as you inhale, extend your right leg behind you, toes tucked on the earth. Press into what's touching the floor. So push the floor away. And then when you're ready, gather your low belly and lift that right leg just to about hip height. So we don't want to let the belly drop just to get a little more height in the leg. We'd rather have a nice long spine, really supported around the torso. Okay. And then if you choose to take an addition to the spinal balance, reach that left arm forward. You can keep the fingertips on the ground or lift that left arm, thumb faces the sky. Breathe here. And then gently release. Go ahead and sweep that right leg out to the right off of your mat. You might need to scoot over a bit if you're in a small space. And that foot is just about in line with the left knee. So you might already feel an inner thigh stretch, all right? And we'll take some movement here. So as you inhale, rock the shoulders, the hips forward. And as you exhale, slide the hips back, okay? So back and forth, again, nice and easy here. Taking it slow. And you can continue with this rock back and forth if an active stretch is more appropriate, or pause, sending the hips back any amount until you feel a nice stretch in the inner thighs. Really press into the hands. Keep that low belly gently engaged. Nice, easy breath. And we'll come back through center, slide that right knee next to the left. Inhale, lift the heart. And exhale, round the spine. Coming back to neutral here, we'll take the other side. Low belly draws in and up. Extend your left leg long. Press the toes into the floor to really feel the ground underneath you. And then when you're ready, gently lift that left leg any amount. So it doesn't need to come in line with the hip or the shoulders. It can be lower. We just don't necessarily want to bow out, okay? We want to keep a nice long line where we can. And then if you'd like to take the balance further, reach your right fingertips forward or lift that arm in line with the ear. Find your breath here. Feel that long line from your right ring finger out through your left heel. And then release. Right hand down, sweep that left leg out to the left, foot and right knee in line with each other. And as you inhale, rock forward. And as you exhale, rock back. So it's not a cat-cow. We're keeping the spine in one long line. and just kind of feeling things out. You're welcome to stay here with this moving stretch here, or move the hips back any amount and let yourself settle and breathe here for a moment. Let the back of your neck be long. And then come back, shoulders over the wrist, and release that left knee next to the right. We'll bring the big toes together, then widen the knees apart, and we'll take a child's pose. So move the hips back any amount. You can slide a blanket or a cushion underneath the hips. You can place a block underneath the head here if the floor is far away, but find support. Find support for your hips, find support for your head. And take a moment here, a big breath into the low back, big breath out. So these moments of rest between postures or sequences can be beneficial to kind of reset, come back to ourselves, but also let the body calibrate, kind of take in what just happened, okay? And when you're ready, we'll walk ourselves up to seated, and we'll make our way to standing. So you can move your blanket out of the way for now if you're using one. Keep your blocks handy if you're using them. And we'll come to the top of our practice space, standing in mountain pose, mountain pose. So feet a comfortable distance apart. I'll actually turn to the side here for this first one. And hands can be at the hips. We're going to do a little bit of balance to start. So if you need a wall, find a wall next to you to hang on to. Shift the weight into your left foot and hover your right foot. And then when you're ready, just let that right leg swing from the hip socket. So we don't want to be bending here. We want to keep the knee extended, okay? And really swing from this hip socket here, all right? And you may wobble a little bit, that's fine. And then coming back to center, hover that foot if you can. You're welcome to tap it down if need be, and sweep that right leg out to the right, and then cross the leg over the left. So out to the side, and then over in front of that left leg. Standing up nice and tall. As my dogs, Tortilla and Baxter, grunt and groan. They're over there napping. And then come back to center, hover that right foot again, stand up nice and tall, and then stand on 2 feet. Go ahead and shake it out there. So we'll take that to the other side. Shift your weight into your right foot, hover your left foot, and then begin to swing. Again, from the hip socket, you might even look down to see that that left knee is staying extended. Foot is flexed. And as you practice over time, you might find that you want to make this range of motion a little bit bigger or smaller. You might want to add the arms. So right arm and left leg move at the same time. If you need a little more challenge, you can look up or even close the eyes and see how that challenges your balance. But for now, we'll come back to center, hover that left foot just above the ground, and sweep that left leg out to the left, and then across the body over to the right. So standing up nice and tall here. And let your breath be as easy as you can. And we'll come back to center, hover that left foot again. Woo, stand up nice and tall, and then release. Go ahead and shake the legs out. Hopefully you feel a little bit of waking up in the legs and the hips there. And we're going to wake them up a little bit more. All right. So feet a comfortable distance apart. Okay. If it's available to you and you appreciate having big toes to touch, feel free to do so. I find it's more comfortable for my hips to have my feet a little farther apart. So as you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms wide and up overhead. And exhale, just hands to heart center, mountain pose. So just getting some length along the body. Inhale, tall mountain. And exhale, keep that height as you bring the hands to heart center. One more. Inhale, press into the feet, reach up through the top of your head and your ring fingers. Keep that length as you exhale, hands to heart center. Okay. This time, inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, keep the body long as you sink the hips back and down into your awkward chair. Okay. So it doesn't need to be a really deep chair to be effective. All right. You can stay a little bit more upright and feel the same work here in the legs and in the torso. Okay. And then as you're ready, we'll take a little bit more spinal work here, back work, I should say. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale, sweep the arms back alongside the body. Inhale, sink the tailbone down, reach up through the ring fingers, and then exhale, sweep back. Okay, keep going with your breath. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, navel draws into the spine. Couple more, inhale. Squeeze the inner thighs like you had a block there. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale, hopefully feeling the back muscles and the legs working. Feel free to come out of it at any time. Coming back to our chair pose. And then take your left wrist with your right fingers, wrap the fingers around, lift up and over, side bend to your left. Keep that breath as easy as you can. Inhale, come back to center, release the arms. And then exhale, grab that right wrist with your left hand and side bend to the right. Nice. Inhale back to center, hopefully feeling a little burn in the legs. And then as you exhale, stand into mountain pose. So I've heard that called the Uber chair or super chair, and we'll revisit that again here in a little bit. So lucky us. Come standing to the top of your practice space in mountain pose, hands to heart center. And take a few breaths here. Let the chest become more quiet. Let the side waist fill with the breath as you inhale. And as you exhale, circulating that heat, that energy we've built up. So as you inhale again, sweep the arms up and overhead, touch the sky. Exhale, forward fold, soften the knees. Lift halfway, lengthen, and then step your right foot back and that knee comes down. Okay, this is where blocks can come in handy too, or books, something underneath the hands to give you more space. Press into the feet, reach the arms up, and then find your balance. So this is a balanced posture. Press into the feet. Inhale, reach up through the ring fingers. And then as you exhale, widen the arms to a T and bring the palms together like you're pressing against a heavy weight. Inhale, reach up, lengthen. Exhale, widen the arms and bring the palms together like you're pressing against a heavy weight. Two more like that. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. Inhale, reach the arms up. Take your right wrist with your left fingers, pull up and over to the left. So a little side bend. So this idea of strengthening throughout the low body, finding that support so we can find some space around the spine, the heart, the torso. And come back through center, release your hands to the floor, and we'll make our way to plank pose, top of a push-up. So you can lift the knees or lower the knees to the floor, okay? We'll take a few breaths here, really lengthen out through the heels and the heart, lift up on the low belly. And then as you're ready, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. If you're not enjoying down dog today, you can come to that hands and knees position, tabletop position, all right? And then from here, look forward, bend the knees a lot, start to walk yourself up towards the top of your mat. Release your head and neck, forward fold. Rise to stand, reach on up, tall mountain, and hands to heart center here. So for me, I notice with those side bends, a little bit more length on the right side of my body now. And we'll take that on the other side to balance it out, that whole sequence. So inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Hands on blocks or floor, lift halfway, lengthen. And then step that left foot back and the knee comes down. So find your firm foundation first. Press the floor away, engage the inner thighs, the low belly. And then from there, reach on up into your lunge. Inhale, reach through the ring fingers. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades behind you as you bring the arms wide and then bring the palms together in front of you. 3 more like that. So from this firm foundation of the legs, the hips, the low belly, we find this openness and ability to move freely in the upper body. Reach on up, wrap your right fingers around your left wrist, move up and over to the left. And then watch yourself, especially if you're hyper flexible, try not to sink into that flexibility. Really press the floor away and find that stability there. Come on back to center, release the hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. And then bend the knees, look forward. We'll take a little walk towards the top of our mats here and then release the head and neck, forward fold. Rise to stand, touch the sky, and hands to heart center here. Okay, we'll take a variation on that Uber chair. Again, this time widening the feet as wide as your mat. So get a nice, strong stance. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, sink the hips back and down. So into kind of this wide stance chair here. Okay. Lean the heart forward a bit as you inhale, reach up. Exhale, sweep the arms back behind you. So feeling the back muscles working. Inhale, sink the hips, reach up. Exhale, lift the heart as you reach the arms back. 3 more like that. Inhale and exhale. Keep the back nice and long. Feel those legs working. Feel free to come out and stand up at any time you need. This time, reach up and circle the left wrist with the right fingers and reach up and over for that side bend in your chair pose. Coming back through center and then encircle the right wrist with your left fingers, reach up and over to the left. Keep breathing. Come on back through center, reach up, and then straighten the legs and forward fold. So the feet are nice and wide. You can use, again, your hands on blocks if the floor is far away, but really let your head and your neck release and relax. You can even sway from side to side here. And come back to center, press into the feet, start to round up the spine, vertebra by vertebra, until you're in standing. Nice. Coming to the top of your mat. Hands to heart center. Inhale and exhale. So step your right foot back and open out to the wide edge of your mat, toes facing the wide edge of your practice space. And there are a couple of options here, hands on your hips. So you can keep the feet facing forward for these triangle variations, or you can take the feet angles with me, all right? You'll get the same benefit of strong legs and a good side body opening. It's just a matter of how your hips are feeling today, all right? So either keep the feet straight and parallel with one another, or turn your left toes out and your right toes in. Reach the arms out to a T, inhale, and then exhale, lean over to the side, whether the feet are forward or not, and side bend. So that left hand will come to the outer thigh or to the shin as you reach on up. It's very easy to start to curl through the spine. So lift up off that bottom waist to find your triangle pose. Okay. And then from here, reach that top arm up and over the ear. And then exhale, reach towards the sky. Inhale, extended triangle. And then exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades on the back. A couple more like that. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, feel that stretch along the side body. And exhale. On an inhale, soften that left knee as you come on up. Turn your toes to face front if they were not. And then we'll take the other side. So turn your right toes out, left toes in. Soften in the knees. Reach, reach, reach. And then hand above or below the knee as you reach that top arm to the sky. And again, notice if you're curling on the underside waist in the attempt to get more closer to the floor, I should say. It's not really worth it. Spine nice and long so you can breathe. Press the floor away, squeeze the inner thighs. And then inhale, sweep that top arm over the ear. And exhale, reach it to the sky. Squeeze the shoulder blades behind you. Okay. Keep going. And you'll notice there's even a little bit, ever so slight, of a twist along the spine. As I reach my arm over, I come out of the twist. And as I reach my arm to the sky, I come into it. One more. And then press into the feet to come on up. Toes face the wide edge of your mat. And then hands to your waist. Take a moment here. Inhale. And exhale. Great. Turn your left toes out and turn your right toes in so much that you turn to face the front of your practice space again. Okay. So we're coming into warrior one. So hips and shoulders face fairly front. Bend that left knee. Press the floor away, gather around the inner thighs, the low belly, and then reach those arms up. Exhale, arms wide, and press the backs of the palms together this time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, wide, and press the backs of the palms together. Two more. Inhale, up. Exhale, wide, and backs of the palms together. One more. Feeling that strong foundation, lower body. So we have some freedom in the upper body. Warrior one here. And then we'll simply switch our feet angle. So straighten that front leg, turn your left toes in, turn your right toes out. And you may need to walk your right foot to the right a bit and kind of navigate having the feet kind of on railroad tracks here rather than on a balance beam. Bend into that right knee. Coming into your warrior one, inhale, press into the feet, reach up. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then bring the backs of the hands together. Three more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. In and out of the nose, exhale. One more. Exhale. Beautiful. Inhale, warrior one. And then straighten that front leg, turn the toes to face the wide edge of your mat, reach up, and then hands to the hips. Press into the floor, reach up through the heart, and soften the knees as you fold forward. So folding forward just halfway. So the spine, the upper body's parallel with the floor, and you're pressing into the feet. Okay. If you would like, and if you have blocks or a chair, the seat of a chair nearby, you can place your hands on blocks to offer you more support. Otherwise, keeping the hands on the hips can work through the spinal muscles a little bit more intensely. So here, bend one knee, slide the body towards that knee, and then come through center, bend the other knee and slide towards that bent knee. So Skandasana, variation on Skandasana. Nice and slow, inhaling and exhaling, nice and easy. If you'd like, you can widen the arms out to a T, palms face down. Really take up space here. And then next time you come towards the front of your practice space, turn your toes towards front, hands to the floor, and press back to downward facing dog. Okay, take a moment here, pedal through the feet. You're always welcome to take child's pose at any time if you need a little reset. Knowing that we have one more balance section here before we make our way towards the floor. So looking forward, bend the knees, step walk, or hop towards the top of your mat. Release the back of your head and your neck. Press into the feet, rise to stand, touch the sky, and hands to heart center here. All right, preparing for our balance. Hopefully you're feeling your legs are strong and feeling some space in the upper body here. So we'll work towards a half moon posture. All right, so this again is nice. It's nice to have a block up towards the top of your mat. Also nice to have a wall if you like to do this posture against a wall. Okay, so walk towards the middle of your practice space. So walk back a few steps. And as you inhale, sweep the arms wide and up overhead. As you exhale, bend the knees, sink into your chair. So this Uber chair again, okay? And feeling that lift up through the belly button, up through the sternum, as you sink the tailbone down, okay? Inhale and exhale here. And then as you're ready, sweep that right arm forward and back behind you as you reach up through the left arm. And then switch, bring that right arm up alongside the face and exhale, sweep that left arm back as you reach up through that right arm. So in opposition, you're reaching away. And we want to feel that length along the front and side body as we prepare for our balance here. You want to keep thinking long in the torso. Great. And then once you've done an equal amount on both sides, we'll inhale, sweep the arms up. And then from here, hands to heart center, sink into your chair and take a step back. You can keep the knees bent here if you can. Take a little step back into kind of a baby lunge. Okay, we're going to come into half moon a little bit differently. Keep leaning forward, forward, forward. Reach your left hand ahead of your left foot for a block or for the floor, and then start to shift your weight onto that left hand, left foot, and then turn the hips and the shoulders out as you lift that back leg. Maybe top hand to the hip, maybe, or maybe towards the sky, okay? So again, you could be leaning back against a wall here. That could give some support, but think strong in the legs. So the inner thighs magnetize towards one another, even though they're not touching, to give you that oomph to lengthen through the heart and the top of the head, okay? And we're gonna come back into our chair pose. So soften the knees, soften the elbows, the shoulders. Bring that right foot next to the left and sink back into your chair. You're always welcome to take a break in mountain pose. Once again, sweeping one arm back behind you, reach up through the other, and then switch. Using those legs to lift up and find space in the upper body. And then from here, hands come to heart center, lean forward. You might need to move your block or your prop over to the right. Keep reaching the heart forward as you plant your right hand to the floor ahead of your right pinky toe and step that left foot back. And then from there, lift up onto that right foot, right hand, and start to turn the heart and the hips out towards the left. Maybe that left hand comes to the hip to ground you. Maybe the left arm comes towards the sky. And then as we stay here, we kind of adjust, right? So we realize that yes, the hips and the legs are working. We spread across the heart space and the back of the heart. And remember to breathe, right? So send the breath low into the low back, low waist. And then unwinding back into our Uber chair pose. Hands can be at heart or overhead again. One last pulse for the legs there. And when you're ready, release and forward fold. Yay. Shake it out. Shake it out. And then we'll bring our knees to the floor. Again, you can place a blanket underneath the knees and just come into child's pose. So coming back to earth for a minute. You can create a pillow with the hands or the fists here. Let your knees come wide and let the belly just be soft. Let your belly be a belly. As you inhale, it expands. And as you exhale, it softens. Taking in breath to nourish the tissues, all the parts of the body you've just worked. And releasing any excess tension or grip. Nice. And then come up to seated. We're going to do a little bit of work for the side body in a seated position for the torso in the seated position. So I like to have a blanket underneath my hips. You can also do this sequence in a chair. So I'm going to work on some churning here, I think called the saw in Pilates. So let the feet come wide, okay? As wide as is comfortable. And that could be just a little bit wider than the shoulders. It doesn't have to be super wide, but so that your low back is nice and long. So we don't want to be rounding here. We want to feel like we're up on top of our sit bone. So again, a chair or a cushion is really helpful. Press out through the feet and then reach the arms out to a T. So kind of what we were doing earlier on our backs, but with a little bit more activity and engagement. So inhale, lift the heart. And as you exhale, twist towards your left. And like you want to saw off your little toe, reach towards that foot. You may come here. You may reach forward a little bit more. Doesn't matter. We just want to keep the spine nice and tall as you come back up. And then exhale, twist towards the right. Lean forward and reach with that opposite hand, okay? So it's more important to go nice and slow so we really feel these torso muscles working for us than to go really quick and get a lot of reps in, say. So we're more looking for awareness and engagement, mindfulness as we move through the posture. Keeping the spine nice and long as much as we can. So inhale to come to center and exhale to twist. And maybe reach forward, maybe not today. Last round or so to each side, taking it at your own pace. And then coming back to center, press down into the sit bones, reach up through the spine, out through the hands and the feet. And then soften and release. Nice work. Let's come onto our bellies for a little bit of back work. Legs out long behind you. Kind of move stuff out of your way here. Let the legs come fairly close together and arms down by your sides, forehead or chin to the floor. And take a moment to let your body be supported by the floor here. And now press your toenails into the floor. Press your pubic bone down. As you inhale, gently lift and hover the heart. reach the fingertips back, engage the arms. And as you exhale, turn your head to one side and lower. So the legs stay grounded. As you inhale, turn your head center, hover the heart, reach the arms. Exhale, turn your head the opposite direction and lower. So continue with your breath, nice and slow. A small range of motion. We want to feel everything along the way. And we continue this theme of the strong foundation of the lower body. And accessing some freedom, some space along the spine, the heart. Last round to each side. And then rest. You can create a pillow with your hands. Let your feet slide apart just a bit. And rest here. Again, feel yourself fully supported by the earth beneath you. So what is your firm foundation? Where do you go to find your strong center? It could be within your body, could be a relationship, it could be a place where you, or a relationship where you feel like you have a strong foundation from which you can feel freedom to move out into the world a little more centered and joyful. And then when you're ready, we'll roll over onto our backs here for a little bit of a twist. So coming onto our backs, back to where we began, and bring the feet a comfortable distance apart. Go ahead and reach your right leg towards the sky, flex through that foot, really press through the heel, and then cross the right ankle just above the left knee and let that right knee fall out to the right. So figure 4 posture here. You're welcome to stay here if this is a good enough stretch for you. You're welcome to take the twist. So the arms come a little bit away from the body and the legs stay in this shape. As you tilt the legs towards your left, plant that right foot to the floor and let your right shoulder really relax to the floor. And if it's there for you, you can take your left hand and grab around your right shin or your right ankle, just as kind of a support there. And allow your body to soften, let your breath be easy. You might even close the eyes. And now gather your belly. Go ahead and lift the legs. Place that left foot to the floor. Set the hips back down. And release your right foot to the floor. So you might need to shift your hips. And we'll extend that left leg towards the sky. Really stretch as much as you're able. And that may be here, right? So you may have the leg on a bit of an angle. That's fine. Feeling a bit of a stretch. And then cross that left ankle above the right knee. And take a moment here. Again, welcome to stay here. You can even press your left hand into that left knee or left thigh, excuse me. And if you'd like to take the twist, keep the shape with the legs and let the legs move towards the right, planting that left foot to the floor outside the right hip. And if you'd like to, you can reach for your left ankle with your right hand. So these postures on the floor are pretty much exact opposite of what we've done standing. In standing, we're resisting gravity. We're really working these muscles. We're circulating or cultivating energy there. And when we make it to the end of our practice in the Hatha sequence, we want to start to release into gravity and let go and allow energy to circulate in these more passive postures. Gather your belly, set your hips back down, and bring both feet to the floor. Nice. So we'll take one more stretch here. Draw the knees into the chest, hug them in, and let the knees come wide. So you can reach around the knees or behind the thighs. You can also take a Suptabatakanasana, butterfly pose, by releasing the hands inside the knees, soles of the feet together. And again, you can grab shins, ankles around the bottoms of the feet. But try to avoid this kind of over-efforting crunching in. Really let yourself soften. So if that means releasing the hands a little bit farther up the legs, then do so. Make the posture your own here. Feel a softening around the low belly, the inner thighs, outer hips. Let your tailbone gently release towards the earth. And again, where do you find your strong foundation, either within or outside of the body, off of your mat? And what are some ways you can strengthen that foundation or offer gratitude? And release the posture, draw the knees into the chest one more time. If you have any further postures that you know you need to take or stretches before we move to Shavasana, feel free to pause the video and do so. And then we'll make our way towards our final resting pose. So options here. First, I would say if you've gotten a little bit chilly or if it's chilly in your room, please grab socks, an extra layer. We want the body to be warm and comfortable for Shavasana so that the nervous system can be nourished, okay? So do take that time to grab extra items to cover the body here, okay? And then once you have those, you're welcome to take a traditional Shavasana with the legs out long, palms face up, using any props you need underneath the knees or underneath the head. So make your spine feel supported here, okay? Another option is to take that Baddha, okay, a supine butterfly pose for your relaxation. So soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. And I highly recommend that you place blanket or block, if you can reach mine, underneath the knees or the outer thighs. So there's no effort. Your body is fully supported here. So you're not hanging on the joints in any way. The body can fully, like a deep exhale and a sigh, and really release all muscular effort. Okay. So choose your posture here. I'm going to take a blanket over myself. It's a little chilly in here. Go ahead and make your adjustments so you feel nice and cozy. And we start to settle in. And take a moment to notice sounds around you, either inside or outside of your practice space. Not attaching to any one sound, just letting the mind bounce from sound to sound. And now gently draw away from those sounds, more inward onto your mat, into your body. And notice how it is to be in your body at this point in your practice. Feeling yourself fully supported, making any adjustments you need to fully relax and release. Now bring your attention to your breath. Allow your breath to be easy and without effort. And observe as the chest becomes more quiet. Allow the belly to be soft. So allow the belly to rise as you inhale. And as you feel the exhale come, allow the belly to soften. And now beginning at the number 10, with each exhale counting down by 1. Allow your breath to guide your counting. So with the next exhale, 10. And then 9. And so on down to 1. And if you find that you've lost count or you need to begin again, just begin again. Allowing each exhale to release and soften and let go. And now let go of the counting and simply allow the mind to rest at that point between the eyebrows. Coming back again and again to that point. Just 1 minute here. Allow your body to rest. And if you can, I highly recommend remaining in your Shavasana for 5 to 10 more minutes. And when it's time to move on, begin to bring your awareness, widen your awareness back to your body, sensing your body on your mat or in your practice space. And feeling the space you're in is one of nurturing and welcome as you allow the breath to deepen. Come back slowly, sending that energy to fingers and toes. You can wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, and gently turn the head from side to side. Again, be gentle with your nervous system here. And then bringing the knees up, plant the feet to the floor, nice and slow. Bring the knees together and the feet out wide. And when you're ready, you can roll to one side. Rest your head in your arm or on a cushion here, on a block. Again, eyes soft or closed, up to a nice, comfortable seat. So this may be, again, in a chair or propped up on something, so you honor the curves of your spine as we sit up nice and tall. Take a moment here with your hands in your lap, your eyes closed. Offer gratitude for your mind, your body, your breath, for your practice. You're taking the time to practice. And bringing your hands to heart center as we close. As you move forward into your day, may you come back again and again to your firm foundation, your support, what nurtures you, what makes you strong, joyful, confident, so that you can move out into the world with freedom and ease. Thank you so much for your practice today. Namaste.